Chapter 11. White Fox entered the palace without any resistance. For those Jianghu people whose homes and sects were destroyed by the Bailiang cavalry, it was not only difficult to enter the palace, but also dangerous inside. Together with the martial emperor city, which was guarded by the second in the world, and the sword tomb of the Wu family, which was full of sword immortals, it was known as one of the three most dangerous places. The martial emperor city had an old monster who looked down on all the masters in the world. The sword tomb had a large number of withered swordsmen who were only allowed to use swords or even touch swords. In the Bailiang palace, in addition to the Bailiang cavalry guards on the surface, there were countless masters hiding in the dark. During that martial arts catastrophe, not only did the butcher Su Xiao kill many famous Jianghu masters like cutting rice straws, but he also attracted a large number of lackeys, who were not of good character but had abnormal strength. Since the first day Su Xiao went to the battlefield, he almost never took off his armor or left his saddle. For nearly 40 years, it seemed that he had no end to his meteoric rise. It was enough for Su Xiao, the great devil who was feared by all the Jianghu people, to keep countless henchmen, lobbyists, chivalrous men and assassins, and to bestow them with great wealth and beautiful maids, fame and power. After the martial arts library was built, there were many martial arts fanatics who went there to learn and were willing to sell their lives for the king of Bailiang. Who would dare to pull out Su Xiao's reverse scale? There was only one person who dared to call himself Daddy in front of Su Xiao, and it was only Su Fengnian who led White Fox into the palace. At this moment, His Highness the Crown Prince briefly introduced the scenery of the prince's mansion to White Fox, who only knew his name. As Su Fengnian said, he could not learn martial arts through hard work. He had the martial arts library that all the martial artists in the world dreamed of, but he only knew how to read some unorthodox books. Therefore, Su Fengnian did not have much mysterious feeling about the murderous intent every 3 steps in the dock of the prince's mansion. White Fox did not dare to take it lightly. When they arrived at the towering tide listening pavilion, they looked up at the top of the pavilion with a complicated expression. Although it was called a pavilion, it was actually a proper attic with a pointed roof and layers of cornices that looked like one. Su Fengnian chuckled and said, "It is claimed to have 6 floors, but there are actually 9 floors inside. The number starts from 1 to 9, but there are people in the capital who have nothing better to do, so it is like this. As you can see, there are corridors on the 5th and 6th floor. There are no books or items on the top floor. It is empty. There are 5 people in the pavilion who are in charge of arranging the martial arts manuals according to the difficulty of practice from the bottom to the top. They should be the so-called guards in Jianghu. They are all old fellows I have known since I was young, and they come and go like ghosts. There is only one copyist, and I learned calligraphy, painting and painting from him. He is a sickly person, more like a ghost than a ghost, but he is still addicted to wine. Every time I go upstairs, I have to bring him wine. If the guards say that they are masters, I will believe them, but if my half-master is, I will jump down from the 9th floor." White Fox did not ask to enter the pavilion. He did not even admire the thousands of carps in the lake. He turned around and walked away, saying lightly, "Help me get a set of Sumeru mustard seed. The sacred steel forest temple of Buddhism only has half a set, but there should be another half in the pavilion. There are 6 books in total. I flip through the books quickly, so it is too troublesome for me to read one book at a time. It is also not worth it to me, because I will pay for the wine you need. I can only give you one of the embroidered winter and spring thunder, so I will feel more at ease if you don't go upstairs a few times." "Can I have the spring thunder?" Su Fengnian asked softly, as if he was trying to bargain. White Fox was indeed a straightforward man. He said without hesitation, "Yes." Su Fengnian was surprised. "Are you really willing to give it to me?" White Fox, who was leaving, said calmly, "There is nothing in this world that I can't bear to let go." Su Fengnian, who was following behind him, twitched his mouth and muttered disapprovingly, "I am afraid that only those who are all alone are qualified to say this." White Fox's face lived in a secluded courtyard not far from the Crown Prince's courtyard. She lived a life of yellow and green lanterns that was extremely boring in Su Fengnian's eyes. She stayed up all night. Judging from her posture, she was only short of chiseling the wall to steal everything. Su Fengnian originally wanted to take this beauty to enjoy the scenery, but he gave up the idea. Other than delivering books to the courtyard, he went to the tide listening pavilion to return the books. He only chatted a little when he delivered the books, asking about Jianghu matters. For example, he asked White Fox who was the top 10 masters in the world, and whether the 4 beauties were really the most beautiful. These were all naive questions for laymen. White Fox, who was living under someone else's roof, did not want to depend on others. He mostly ignored them. There was nothing Su Fengnian could do about it, but the only thing he gained was that the unreasonable White Fox face was now willing to let him touch the embroidered winter and spring thunder sabers. She did not even mind him taking out the embroidered winter and performing a few lame moves for himself. Regarding this, de Zhuge turned a blind eye and did not ask a single question. As soon as the news of His Royal Highness returning to the city spread, many rich playboys from Lingzhou who were close to Su Fengnian rushed to his door. At that time, he was still sleeping and de Zhuge chased them all away.